We're talking about today, what do you see? So the date was August 28, 1963. The place was the Lincoln Memorial in Washington, D.C., and the man was Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King, Jr. An excerpt from his I Have a Dream speech, because he had something that he saw and wanted to share with the world, goes like this. I have a dream today. I have a dream that one day every valley shall be exalted and every hill and mountain shall be made low. The rough places shall be made plain, and the crooked places shall be made straight. And the glory of the Lord shall be revealed to all flesh, and all flesh shall see it together. This is our hope, and this is the faith that I go back to the South with. With this faith, we will be able to hew out of the mountain of despair a stone of hope. With this faith, we will be able to transform the jangling discords of our nation into a beautiful symphony of brotherhood. With this faith, we will be able to work together, to pray together, to struggle together, to go to jail together, to stand up for freedom together, knowing that we will be free one day. And this is the day. This is the day when all of God's children will be able to sing with new meaning. My country, 'tis of thee, sweet land of liberty, of thee I sing. Land where my fathers died, land of the pilgrim's pride. From every mountainside, let freedom reign. And if America is to be a great nation, this must become true. What a great dream. What an amazing vision. What a person of sight. Someone with the ability to see. So today we ask the question, what do you see? Because the ability to see was not relegated just to Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King or to Jesus the Christ or to anyone in particular. The ability to see lives in each one of us. So the question today, what do you see? Beyond the reach of your physical eyes, I told the story in first service about my mother, who's 84 years old. She has glaucoma in her right eye, a challenge that she deals with every day, and she's legally blind in her left eye. But Veranda and I, met with her and asked her a question about relationships. What's the best advice you can give? And not knowing the challenges that we were facing, and we were trying to make some decisions, and she said to us, follow your heart. Always follow your heart. Intuitively, my mother was able to see way down the road, further than either one of us were able to see in the moment, because she saw with a different kind of sight that I'm asking you to engage in today. The sight that comes from spirit and springs forth from your heart. What do you see? Through the eyes of source. Are you bracing yourself for this country and its happenings out of fear? Or are you relaxing into the amazing arms of the divine and trusting the joy and expansion that can happen in this spiritual community? Or are you listening for, watching for, passionate about what the divine is doing in your life individually? Are you able to see? This is what I know about Spirit. Spirit is always speaking to us. The divine is always having a conversation with our soul, always sharing some tidbit of truth, loves having communion, sweet communion with us. The challenge, though, is we have to be on the right frequency to hear that the conversation is even happening. You cannot hear what's happening on 106.3 FM if you are tuned to 88.3 FM. It's not possible, but the conversation is still being had on 106.3. I invite you to tune in this moment to the frequency of the divine. Open your heart space to hear. Open your eyes, the eyes of your heart, to know fully in this moment what you see from the divine. Unity's basic principle number 3 says this: we create our life experiences through our way of thinking. So we can choose to see the world through these eyes, where I need glasses. Oh my God, y'all just got fuzzy, by the way. Or we can choose to see the world through the lens of the divine. Spirit is always inside each one of us, right? And Spirit's desire is to see everyone that we encounter through the eyes of love, through the eyes of perfection. When the divine looks at you, the divine says, perfect. And I say, but this gut. And Spirit says, beautiful. And I said, I know, but this medicine I'm taking. And the divine says, wonderful. I said, yeah, but I just got mad at somebody because they really got on my, they just got on my nerves. And Spirit says, gorgeous, perfect, absolutely like me. You look just like me. Spirit says about each one of us. The trick is for us to be able to say that about everyone else we encounter. That was funny. And it is what we grow to do in every instance and in every situation, to see life, to see our country, to see the other person who may look very different than we do, or just like us, to see them through the eyes of the divine. There's a story in the Bible that helps me explain what I'm trying to share with you today. And I recruited Nikki and Bruce earlier. They did such a great job. I'm going to ask them to come and help me again. Give them a hand as they come. Great actors. Great. Assume your positions. I appreciate you. Thanks, Nikki. So the story is about Elisha. Elisha was a prophet in the Hebrew Bible, or sometimes called the Old Testament. And he was laser focused on seeing life through the eyes of Spirit. Elisha is known to be a Christ presence prior to the stepping on of Jesus Christ. How many of you realize the Christ presence was there long before Jesus showed up? I got two hands. I love that. I love that. It is true. The Christ presence is the same presence that emanates from source. So it was never not there. We just learn more and more about it as the story of the Bible unfolds. So in the Hebrew scripture, Elisha is said to be a Christ type of presence. And so Elisha was a prophet for the king of Israel. Nikki is the king of Israel. All right. Elisha was prophet for the king of Israel. And then there was this guy, the king of Aram. What's his name? And the king of Aram wanted to have a battle against Israel. He wanted to fight for the land that Israel lived on. So there's a situation here. The king of Aram, he said, I will send my troops.
I will send my troops
To such and such a place.
to such and such a place.
And we will take them down.
And we will take them down.
Elisha, the prophet for Israel, laser focused on seeing life through the eyes of the divine. went into his secret place of the Most High, quiet, meditative place, opened his heart and his eyes to hear and see what Spirit had to say. Got a message. Goes to the king of Israel. King of Israel. The king of Aram wants to take the land. He's sending some troops to such and such a place so that he can overtake the land. I advise you not to do that. Will you follow that advice?
Yes, I will.
Good job. Fist bump. They did a fist bump in the Bible. It's in the Bible. King Aram gets mad.
I am mad.
Comes up with another strategy. Says,
Oh, I will send my troops to another such and such a place,
take them down there.
and will take them down there.
Elisha? King of Israel.
Yes.
King of Aram still at it. This time he's going to send his troop to another such and such a place. I advise you not to send our people there so that he does not have a chance to overtake the land. Will you follow this advice?
Yes, I will.
Good job. King of Aram gets real mad.
Oh, I am real mad.
He asks his people, who's telling my secret?
Who is telling my secrets?
He can't say this part. I realized this
I
earlier.
can't.
Because I'll kill them. He can't-
Oh,
he
I
can't say
couldn't say that. No. Thank
It's
you.
okay. I got it. You're welcome. King of Aram learned from his people, said, hey, it's not any of us, dude. We're on your side. But there's this prophet over there named Elisha who keeps on spilling the beans about what we're trying to do. He says,
Elijah. Elijah?
take him down instead.
I think we'll take him down instead.
Good job. So the battle changed from being against the people of Israel, this whole nation of people to take the land. He realized, I can't get to the land unless I can get to this person who keeps staying in the presence of the divine, spilling my secrets. Consider this. There would be no war against whatever it is you're trying to do if you were able to stay centered in this place, in the secret place, in meditation, in prayerful insight, to hear what the divine is saying. It could cancel out this war, this challenge, this problem, this discord that you believe that you are facing. Cancel it completely out because you're so laser focused on what the truth with a capital T really is. The power that lives in you. Aram, king of Israel, you can have a seat. Thank you. So what happens then? The focus turns to Elisha. King of Aram wants to take him down. In comes the verse that we're going to read today, if you'll put that on the screen. 2 Kings chapter 6, verses 15 through 17. When the servant of the man of God got up early the next morning and went outside, there were troops, horses, and chariots everywhere. "Oh, sir, what will we do now?" the young man cried to Elisha. "Don't be afraid," Elisha said, "for there are more on our side than on theirs." Then Elisha prayed, "Oh Lord, open his eyes and let him see." The Lord opened the young man's eyes, and when he looked up, notice where he looked up, he saw that the hillside around Elisha was filled with horses and chariots of fire. And so the story goes. The servant of Elisha got up, got dressed, chose not to spend time where? In prayer, in meditation, seeking what Spirit might have to say for him today, or understanding what might be ahead of him today. Just get up, get dressed, time to go to work, got to get on the highway, it's going to be busy, it's always crowded on 74. I got to go. I don't have time to sit in a chair for 5 minutes to get ahead of my day. So he goes outside. And he sees, just as King of Aram said, the troops of the king of Aram and his people surrounding Elisha's, where he lives, on the hills, on the hillside. The servant freaked out, which is what happens to us when we don't prepare ourselves for the day. Something inevitably will show up, hit us sideways, we don't even see it coming, and flip us out for the rest of the day. Just flip out, just all on edge, angry, upset, full of anxiety, mad, cussing. Yeah, do it. And then it's hard to, once we get off kilter, hard to get back on. This is the servant. Runs back in the house, goes to Elisha. Man, wake up! This outside, the troops, it's crazy out there. We're going to die. What are we going to do? Elisha said, chill out, dude. It's in the Bible. There's more with us than there are with them. Elijah's servant said, dude, I don't know what you're smoking. You either give me some or you get off that stuff. So all I see is me and you against the world right now. And then Elisha prayed. Open his eyes. He wasn't talking about these physical eyes. He's talking about the eyes of his heart, talking about his ability to see things through the eyes of source, see things the way God sees them. Open his eyes so that he can see. And when he prayed that prayer, the servant looked around and said, we got this, what? Because the troops, the angels of the Lord, were surrounded right around Elisha and the servant in front of what was considered the army of Aram. And the servant and Elisha realized, we are safe. All is well. There's nothing serious going on here. Everything is working for my good. I'm living a life full of abundance, joy, peace, harmony, grace. There's no war. There's only peace. Peace abides because I truly see through the eyes of source. Wouldn't it be grand if we could see our country that way? You know what I realize, but particularly now with the government shutdown and the challenges that the non-essential federal employees are engaged in because they're not getting paid, is that people are rising to the top, volunteering, buying food, groceries, water, necessities, delivering it to people who do not otherwise have. This is a movement of love that is happening. If we can see that, focus on that, that would not ordinarily happen if the folks were just getting paid like they always get paid. You're okay, we're not worried about them, everybody's getting something. But when we realize, hey, there's something I can do. There's an act of love that I can take. People generally, because we have the heart of God, respond in love. We respond in love. When Elisha prayed for his servant, The activated unity principle number 4, there is power in affirmative prayer, which we believe increases our awareness of God. And then basic principle number 1, which we spoke earlier today, God is the source and creator of all. There is no other enduring power. God is good and present everywhere. Isn't that amazing?
Yeah.
Present everywhere. There's not a place where the divine is not. It's just not possible. So what do you see? The presence of a fear-induced reality or the presence of the omnipotent one? What do you see? Here's what I learned while going through this process. Remember the king of Israel, whom I said is laser focused, always on point, spent time in prayer meditation, responded through the eyes of the divine. His reputation, spotless. Here's what I learned. Regardless of the reputation of the spiritual leader, when people are focused on fear, they will respond out of fear. As truth seekers, though, all of us, it is important that we continually pray that Spirit shows us the truth, with a capital T, of every situation. It's important that we remain unmoved by the physical realm and its perceived opposition. It's important to show poise, and calmly assure our spiritual community and those in our world that there's nothing to fear. As spiritual leaders, now I speak of ministers, LUTs, team leaders, board members, anyone who serves in a leadership capacity in this community or otherwise. We may often communicate a vision that is invisible to others, like Elijah did to the servant. And what we do in those circumstances, we do the same thing Elisha did. It's our responsibility to pray for those whom we lead, so that they will be able to see what you see through the eyes of source energy. So now you know. Once you know, you cannot not know. Sorry, you're on the hook for what you just learned. And what did we just learn? That it is important to see the world, to see every situation, to see every person through the lens of the universal source of all knowing. And when we do, we can rest in the arms of the divine, know that we are holy and holy, taken care of, and that all is well. Unity Basic Principle number 5 says this: knowledge of these spiritual principles is not enough. We must live them. So I invite you today and in the coming days to dare to see the world and everyone and every situation through the eyes of Source. Trust the divine to reveal the truth to you. Know that all is truly well, whether it feels good or not. And get out of your head about the situation. Move into your heart space about it. Rest in pure positive energy. And that is the energy of love. May it be so for you today and in the coming days. Amen.
Let's sing our way into meditation, seeing the face of God.
I hold you in
following our breath, simple and profound practice. Breathing in and breathing out. And with each in-breath, we fill ourselves with divine source love. And from that place of full light, we exhale, we relax and let go. Relaxing into the arms of God. Relaxing, releasing. Breathing in, breathing out. I open and I fill. I release, I let go. Following our breath in and out. And as I breathe out, I notice any knots, any things that are in the way of being pure source love here on earth. I let them go, like I release the string on a balloon. Let it float up, because it no longer serves me. And as I breathe in, I fill my heart with radiant source energy. I open the eyes of my heart. I see divine love filling my being. And we sit with our eyes wide open here in this divine and sacred silence. In our awareness, the face of God in each and every one we see, with no exceptions. We can sing to them and to each other, "You are the face of God."